Good day everyone, the Anime Down here with another video. So after looking at the summer of Japanese series, it's time we turn to Chinese ones. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe if you like our work, and also leave a like. So let's get started. Swarm is a work I briefly mentioned in the past. It's an original work by Chosen. That guy's also animating another sci-fi work called Foreordination. However, unlike Foreordination, Swarm is an original work that caught my eye with its preview videos, but also because of its setting and the story theme. The story is set in China in 2056, where technology has made massive progress. A form of technology that was developed was one that allowed humans to dive into their own minds. Within the mind, scientists find that a whole new universe exists within the brain. It seems from there many issues come to arise as the exploration of this inner mind of the individuals proved to be an explosive revolution for the human race. The focus on the mind will always be a huge role for me in any sci-fi series, because of the huge mysteries we have yet to unfold about the brain and the mind. Hence, I do really find the concept of this series to be quite interesting, and whilst there is not much we can tell from the synopsis of how the story develops, I feel like it's worth a shot regardless. The preview videos have sold me on the animation aspect as well. It does not seem to be on the level of Foreordination, but that series would likely have a bigger budget since it's an adaptation of a popular book series already. I will be looking carefully at how Swarm explores its concept and the ideas it might explore from that. Next, we have the Peerless Proud Twins. The Peerless Proud Twins is based on a renowned wuxia novel by Gu Long from the 1960s. The series has had many adaptations over the years, and they have ranged from various film versions but also television series, albeit sometimes they were Hong Kong and Taiwan productions, not strictly mainland productions. However, this is the first real time it's animated, and boy, I think this is looking really promising. In regards to story, Proud Twins follows a standard set for wuxia stories. The story focuses around the Jianghu, the martial arts community, and it follows the story of twins that are separated shortly after their birth. Both grow up in significantly different environments, and therefore grow up to have contrasting values, and they end up entering in conflict many times, without knowing their brotherly relationship. The story overall, whilst not complex in nature, it does dwell in various themes that ring with people, such as family, upbringing, and morality, that are often present in wuxia stories. Proud Twins brings this all together really well, and that has made it be a cherished story by Chinese audiences. The animation will be in full CGI, which in itself is not a surprise. Tencent does seem to prefer working with CGI studios, especially for IPs that hold a lot of promise, like Proud Twins. Luckily for us, the animation seems to be of good quality. Handling the animation is Studio Biment. They're also the ones behind the Westward series, that has had multiple seasons, and with each season the quality of the animation improved. This bodes well for Proud Twins since it seems like the standard of the first season, in terms of animation quality, will already be high, and future seasons are likely to become much better. So overall, Proud Twins is really worth a shot for anyone interested in this sort of story. Next we have Shi Chao Lao Long Bei Guan Yi or Long Zhe Ming. Shi Chao Lao Long Bei Guan Yi or Long Zhe Ming is actually a Japanese web novel series turned light novel. I guess you could guess that from the long ass name. But what is interesting about this is that it is a Japanese work, being adapted by a Chinese studio. In this case, it's Studio Lan. In Japan, the light novel is published under the Kadokawa Sneaker Bunko label, and Kadokawa Chinyu, its Chinese subsidiary, is one of the producers of this project, alongside Bilibili. It perhaps should not be too surprising, as Bilibili needs content to feed it to its users, and many of which are fans of Japanese works. Bilibili already makes up part of the production committee of many anime every season, especially ones that they feel can be popular within China. China's growing domestic animation industry, vis-a-vis the shortage of labor in animation in Japan, that means dependable studios can be fully booked sometimes. and that means it can be better to source the main animation production through studios in China instead. In addition, there is another benefit to this since authorities in China will see it as a domestic work, at least in the animation labor department. Let's move from this background stuff into the series itself. Shi Cao Lao is set in a fantasy setting, and we follow a dragon and his female companion. The meeting between the two happens when the dragon, whose size and appearance, which rightfully so make people fearful, is offered a maiden sacrifice by the community of people living near his abode, in a sign of respect. Contrary to his appearance, however, the dragon is a vegetarian, and by all accounts, a coward. He sends the sacrifice back, but she refuses, and that is how their story really begins. Shi Cao Lao, it's a comedy adventure series, which is a genre that I think is quite important to feature in every anime season, since it has many fans, me included. Donghua for me needs more variety in regards to genres, so this title and the fact Studio Lan is behind holds a lot of promise. I do hope this series spreads to Japanese anime fan bases, since Studio Lan is very closely related to Japanese animation. So next we have Shui Yu Xin. Shui Yu Xin is a work that I in particular find interesting, so this might be a biased choice by me. So what is this series about, you might ask? It is set in China during the 1940s, and it seems to touch onto the early 50s as well. It follows a family of Japanese people that moved to China during the Second Sino-Japanese War in the 30s and 40s. However, with the defeat of the Japanese, those able financially to leave left, but Sahara Megumi's family was not able to leave, and therefore they found themselves having to settle in northeast China, in the place their countrymen had previously caused a lot of devastation on. Despite knowing they are Japanese, the family is accepted in their rural community. However, the tumultuous nature of the post-World War period, due to the breakdown of the temporary alliance between the KMT and the CCP, led to a civil war in China. The death of Megumi's father, and the circumstances within China led him to join the PLA against the wishes of his mother. So the story takes place in this turbulent period in history and it explores the deep complexities of a Japanese finding acceptance in China and fighting in the PLA, the People's Liberation Army. Shui Yu Xin is based on the manga adaptation of a real story. Megumi Sahara was a real person, but he sadly passed away in 2021 before being able to see it animated. He eventually returned to Japan in the 50s after participating in many wars for the PLA, including the Korean War in the early 50s. I find this tale incredibly interesting and not something I can find easily in Japanese anime. And this makes me overlook the animation that seems to be subpar, because the studio working on this is a new studio and this is actually their first real work. So overall I find this work really interesting. I find the setting, the story, the fact it's a real story as well, and it follows the Japanese in China at such a very dangerous period for Chinese. There was a lot of Chinese hatred after the Second Sino-Japanese War, so it's very interesting how it explores this dimension, so I'm really looking forward to watching this and reading the manga as well. So next we have some notable mentions. There are notable mentions for particular reasons, not necessarily because they're worse. The first notable mention is Dragon's Raja. Dragon's Raja is set for debut in August, and that still falls under summer. It is a series I mentioned recently in a video, so in order to not repeat myself, I will put it here. However, it is one of the top series to watch out for in summer. The animation looks neat and the story, albeit simple, has likable characters, and first and foremost, it's action-packed. I hope this is released in English with good subs, because I believe it could be quite popular with Western fans. Next we have Give Me a Little Buddhist Monk. Give Me a Little Buddhist Monk is a manhwa series that follows a young monk's daily life and his encounters with a cute speaking cat monster, or Yao Guai. As you might have guessed, this is a short series, and it's a wonderful Iyashi title that I'm sure to watch. The stories involving the two are simple but charming and adorable, and the animation looks really nice. It's a must-watch for Yashike fans. Next we have Wu Shuangshu. Wu Shuangshu is an original animated series that has caught my eye due to its animation style. It uses CGI, but it has a more stylized character model look that makes it look distinct in comparison to other CGI series. In my eyes, this is commendable, since 3D CGI series in China do look good for the most part, but they do have a samey look to them. Story-wise, it's not too easy to comment, since it's an original story, but it seems to be a heavy action-packed series, so it should be one to at least give a try to. Moyo-ji is the anime version of the live-action series named Biography of the Mutants. Moyo-ji draws inspiration from Journey to the West, but it adds its own original spin to the stories in the classic novel. Moyo-ji is liked by many and for good reason. It is quite a fun series, and I expect the anime adaptation to be comparable to the web series. In addition, the animation seems fine, but I believe the titles in the list show more promise, which is why it's in notable mention. The fact the trailer was subbed in English is promising. Hopefully it receives official subs, and honestly that is something I hope every series in this list gets, because they're all worth a shot. Summer for Donghua is looking quite exciting. So how does it fare in comparison with the summer of Japanese animated works, do you think? You can take a stab at that rhetorical question and comment on the upcoming Chinese series, and if you're excited about any of them, in the comment section below. Before I sign off however, please feel free to share any ideas you guys have for future videos in the comments. I'm happy to explore anything and everything. Catch you guys later!